what's good, everybody? Happy Monday already. Man, that was a long weekend. I don't like the weekends myself. I like to do work, get things done. Speaking of getting things done, one of the things that we are working on, I've been working on it all year so far, I'm really, really excited about this, is a full personal finance class for our customers. Everything from taxes, insurance, investing, your budget, your savings, exactly what are you supposed to do and when are you supposed to do it. This week I'm going to be working on the credit section. How does your credit score work specifically? What helps you, hurts you, how to improve your credit score, how to fix errors on your credit score, or your credit report, all those things, the things that we're just not taught. I want to go through them line by line, leave out the opinion, and only put the facts in there in really short, quick classes. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to just start filming this thing already. But this week I'll be working on credit. The reason I bring that up, if you are a customer of Jazz Wealth or someone that's considering joining us here at Jazz, is there's something that has to do with your money that you've never understood. One particular topic, one specific little detail that you could use help with, let me know. Send me an email. I'm happy to include it in the class. We are going on 55 videos that I swear to you cover everything top to bottom. So we'll do everything we can to help with your finances while we manage your retirement investments here at Jazz Wealth. And that's just one of the cool things that we're working on. I can envision me like putting this together and going around the country, like sharing this with people. I think it's time. I think it's time we get rid of all the garbage, all the opinion, and just start to get down to facts. What are you supposed to do with your money? What are you supposed to do with your credit, your investments, your savings? You name it, I'm going to cover it all. So let me know if there's anything I can include there for you. Also, you're going to see some more videos on health savings accounts. We are officially launching those. By the end of the week, we should have the sort of function built on our back end here. But if you have a health savings account or that's something you're looking for help with, you want someone to manage that as well. After beating up this company, the Health Savings Exchange, I've beat them up all year. They have finally said, hey, okay, look, fine, you seem like a determined little young man. They're willing to work with us where we can invest your health savings account as well. The first dollar, right? There's no minimum there either. So really looking forward to that. You're going to see some more videos on that. There's so many cool things we can do with those. So I'll add that to the mix as well. But you guys are here to hear about the markets today. So we're going to go over the stock market, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get started. We'll go over to the charts here. There you go. So these are the charts. We're looking at the S&P 500 at the moment. It started off as a very, very strong day. Everything was cool. All the major, all the major indices, all the major sectors up, doing well. Everything looked great. Energy, we'll get to that in a second, was doing good. And then I want to point this out. What you're looking at is a daily chart. Let's change and zoom in to every 5 minutes. So everything you see here, this is 5 minutes ago. This is 5 minutes before that, and so on and so on. Look at what happened at the end of the day, like the last 40 minutes or so. A little bad news comes out in the stock market, a little more unsure investor, if I could say that nicely. So the stock market gave back almost all the gains going into the close. Not a good sign here in the short term. Something about the Trump's lawyer's office was raided or something. They're never-ending thing over there. Anyways, in the short term, a little more nerves based from investors there. And so you just saw a little bit of pullback there at the end of the day. Here's the bottom line. We talked about this on Friday. This back and forth now going over 11 days, it really hasn't gained or lost much. In fact, where we closed on the day, you can now go back and say, this is the 10th day in a row that we've had that 1% swing back or forth. And it really hasn't amounted to anything. Overall, if we were to tally up the performance of every one of these days, really we've only added like 1 point. We're basically flat depending on where it closes here. So it's basically 10 days of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with no real gain or no real loss. I don't like to see that it closed on the lows today. My opinion is that this 200-day moving average, the red line, is going to be put to the test here in just the next couple days. I think we end up moving below that. So I would get ready for a little weakness there, but that's just my opinion. It doesn't change anything. I don't see this as any reason to run for the hills, make major life changes. Oh my God, the world's going to end. This is news. This is news at its finest, how the news and financial media affects the stock market. There's a lot going on right now and a lot of stuff that the shorter term traders or the fund managers, they really have to take into consideration there. So either way, what happened on the day today? The Dow was higher by 48 points, was higher by almost, I think 400 it hit at one point. 400 points, closed up only 48 there. You know, you saw it the last little bit of the day. The S&P 500 added 8 points. That's what's on the screen there for you right now. The NASDAQ was up 35. That was your best performer. Tech stocks really held on to the sort of strength for the day. You had semiconductors up strong on the day, and financials almost held in there. They got about a 0.5% gain on the day. Energy is a big one here. Crude oil having a strong day, up 2%. Anything energy-wise that you have or you're invested in did well. We keep pointing out, there we go. We keep pointing out this move that energy is trying to make out of this range. I think that's still intact. I think that still happens. Today went a long way towards sort of deciding that. No matter what ETF you use, they all look about the same. I think you see the same thing. It's going to start to move up and out of that range. The financials did okay, except for the end of the day. The tech stocks did mostly okay. They held on to most of their day. Tech in general, same sort of idea, chopping back and forth. Not a lot to go on here as far as the start of the week. Commodities, they did well. I'm actually thinking commodities are about to break out here a little bit. If you follow charts, if you're a technical trader, there's just a little interesting thing here. A series of somewhat equal highs and a series of rising lows. All that tells you, if you've never heard of this before, all that tells you is when the buyers came in, all was good. When the sellers sold off, they weren't as scared as they were back over here. When the buyers came back in, everybody's excited again. The next time people decided to sell, they weren't as scared as they were the time before that. So it shows a reducing amount of fear and more pressure to the upside. So it looks like the commodity stocks are going to do well. If you're invested in commodities, you're noticing that's doing quite well as well also. Broad market, yeah, again, it was a strong day, gave most of it back. If we look over towards bonds, they started creeping up there towards the end of the day. And short-term, long-term, just depending on whatever you're looking at, all looks about the same there. Volatility also spiked there towards the end of the day. That's been a key focus. That's what you see on the screen there. More and more volatility coming into the market. This is basically, here's the S&P again. Remember that the stock markets go up in a pretty consistent pattern. When they top out and they start getting a little heavy to the upside, they don't just fall and then that's the end of it. They tend to, like, what they call it, a topping pattern, where there's really choppy up at the highs. There's some days that are scary, some days that are great, but all in all, just starting to top out. Seems like maybe that's the case here in the short term. Really, I think the market's sort of buying time until we get into earnings so we can see if the economy and stocks are really doing well. We'll see. We got plenty of time there. Going into tomorrow, the focus is going to be on Facebook. Facebook is going to, Mark Zuckerberg is actually going to testify in front of Congress tomorrow. The notes have already been released. We already know what he's going to say, but he's going to get drilled by Congress. So if you like watching that sort of TV drama where the politicians try to make it look like they're doing a good job and the CEO, he's like, I'm trying to make sure everybody's happy over here. It's kind of fun to watch, but really just a lot of nonsense. General Motors was up about 0.5% today. That stock was upgraded by Morgan Stanley. Always important when Morgan Stanley upgrades a stock. They said that their pickup truck offerings will now account for more than 65% of their profits. So that's good news there. And on the downside, retailers, they kind of stuck out as weak today. You had Target, that was down just over 1%. Remember, Target is basically China. And that's like, maybe that's insulting, I don't know, but Target is China. Go into Target and just grab anything and look at the bottom of it. It's made in China. So they get a lot of stuff from there, and they're really unsure right now how this sort of tariff, we won't call it a war, I guess, because nobody's calling it a war. It's a war, but this sort of spat back and forth between the U.S. and China is really tough for Target to even understand what to do. So stock was down a little bit today. They had their annual report come out and they said the imposition of additional tariffs or duties could adversely affect their business. They were basically admitting we get a lot of stuff from China, right? We might be in some trouble here. If you look at Walmart, actually the stock I don't think did a whole lot today. The stock was down about 0.5%. Walmart's figured it out. They started moving away from China. They're now looking at Vietnam. They're buying stuff more from them, getting cheaper costs over there. So they're maybe not in as bad of shape. But you got names like Best Buy, Dollar General. Think of where they get all that stuff from. So could be some pressure in the short term there. So here's a picture of the chart if you want to see that. That's Walmart on the screen. Other than that, I don't really have a lot of else anything really exciting to share with you. I think it's just one of those days that we're chopping around. I feel like the pressure's to the downside. It doesn't change anything. It gets me excited, really, that there's going to be potentially another discount there, but I wouldn't worry about it. Let me take a quick look at some of the questions, and we'll get out of here. Heartburn, Mass Effect. You must be invested pretty aggressively then. That would stress me out, too. I understand. You need to feel better. Is the market still in a correction? Depends on what time. Depends on what time of the day you looked at it. I believe we closed back in correction territory. I'm not 100% sure there, but at one point we were above. So I guess it depends on the time of day. You normally don't feel good about sideways moves. More often than not, people sell because of losses. I got that feeling here too. I feel like a little pressure is going to be to the downside. So I think you're right, Dynasty. We closed up 48 points on the Dow today. Yep. Zuckerberg's going to get drilled. Yeah. I don't fully understand stocks, but I do Forex, and the USD has been doing great for the last 14 days. You are a better person than I am, because the only product that I've never made money trading, even in my short-term trading days, was Forex. It killed me. I do not understand that market. I did not do well. Everything else, futures, that's kind of my go-to thing. No problem there, but for Forex, you can have it. So enjoy. Mass Effect thinks he's ready to start with Jazz Wealth. Great. Yeah. Sounds good. Little by little. Reminds me of the Stash app. People talk about how great it is to invest with Pocket Change, but their fee is $1 a month, which is huge if you're just investing Pocket Change. That is true. It's fun to invest Pocket Change, and it certainly gets your mind thinking, but at some point we got to graduate towards Couch Change, right? Where you dig in there and you find a few coins instead of just one. And then at some point we got to gravitate towards, okay, I sold some stuff on eBay and that money could be invested, and maybe side hustle money, and oh, now I'm going to take some money out of my current income once I have my dough straight to start investing. So I like, for me, I like Acorns. If you're still watching, Acorns I think is cool because it just kind of adds up savings over time, but you eventually got to do more. I think you know that too. Any thoughts on Dropbox? I didn't look at it today. How'd Dropbox do today? Oh, it's pretty calm, actually. That's not bad. A lot of these tech IPOs have been really wild. I mean, it kind of did there at the beginning, but it seems to be settling in there. My personal rule is I do not invest or consider investing any one of my clients' accounts in anything that has not been open for less than 200 days. It's got to be around for at least 200 days. When I type on the screen, for example, I don't know, General Motors, we were talking about that. I got to see this red line. In its simplest form, I have to see this red line or I want nothing to do with it. Just too risky at that point, which reminds me, how did Spotify do today? That one's settling in too as well if you follow IPO stocks. Anyways, that's where I'm going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going right back to work on these classes. I'm so excited about these classes. They're going to be great. Those of you that are with us here at Jazz Wealth, it's going to be more than you're ready for. I don't know if you can handle it. I'm not even sure if you're ready, if you can handle it, but I'm really, really pumped. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, and enjoy. Talk to you then.